Greetings, ladies and gentle readers. I'm Dwyer, and I just finished reading The Hedge Wizard 3, a lit RPG game lit adventure. And I am pleasantly happy that I've been enjoying all of the books in this series so far. I am. I've been enjoying them. It starts off with the good old Hedge Wizard. Essentially, if you haven't either heard the reviews or read these particular series yet, the premise is simple. You've got a fantasy world. It's very light on the lit RPG. Like, so if you're one of those weirdos who just needs stats and numbers every single chapter, this is way not for you. It's not that kind of book. It's very light on the lit RPG elements. But essentially, we're in a fantasy world, and we have the good old wizard Hump here, short for Humphrey Woodrow, I do believe the name is. And he is a hedge wizard. There are essentially two types of beings in this world with magic. You've got the sort of self-taught individuals who are learning like spells and cantrips and what have you, and struggling to find their way forward. And then you've got the chosen, where the gods have come down and like, boom, I have granted unto you a bit of my power, and I will completely control your way forward in exchange for a lot of my power, as long as you remain true to, I don't know, whatever god stuff that I'm into. And our main character is not one of the chosen. He's the title of the series is obviously there. He's a hedge wizard. So he usually has to use his thinky brains to get around the different problems that are afoot. He needs to keep practicing constantly because his power hasn't been given to him by a deity. And he finds himself in very, very strange positions, having to very much earn the respect of the people around him through both word and deed. And that's cool. That's absolutely cool. Here in good old book 3, it's more of that. He finally gets to return to a city. We think, it's gonna be some pretty chill times now, right? Nah, there's some things afoot in the city. There's some dark, dark things afoot in the city. You got some warlocks running around doing warlocky, terrible things. And he finds himself in the middle of that. Because people are kind of taking a dim view to wizards, because it isn't like the chosen, the gods chosen, running around and doing terrible things. It's like, nah, man, it's these fucking greedy people here that weren't chosen by the gods, And they just keep wanting more and more and more, and they keep turning to weird things to do it, and like, they're freaking wizards, man. Wizards and war, they're all the same. Like, we kind of get into that sort of feel because of what's going on in the world. And since he's a wizard, he has to navigate that. He has to navigate that. All the while, still wondering about questions like, what happened to his master? Did he really die the way he thinks he died? Who was he really? What is this spell book he's carrying around? It seems to be very, very weird and utterly unique. He's looking after a dragon egg that he got in previous books, and he's keeping tabs on that, protecting that thing, all the while trying to answer the question like, what are these warlocks even doing? I'm here. The world's going to crap. I have to do my part. All the while, the previous damage that was inflicted upon him in previous books is starting to really wiggle to the surface at the way wrong time, because that'll get you branded as a warlock if people notice that. And since they're going around killing a bunch of people, that's not really a good time to be associated with warlockery. That'll kind of get a person killed. So, yeah, you got like all of these different things going on. I have no evidence that the author is in any way doing the things that I've been so disappointed lately when I reviewed The Undying Magician not too long ago, where the author is taking a very heavy hand in the story and, screwing with things. No, this is much higher tier writing. The author is not suddenly invalidating other things that they've established for how the world works because they, I don't know, are out of ideas or they just want to do something different and they're bored with what they were doing. You know, really low class tier writing crap that I've unfortunately been coming across lately. No, it's just a fantastic read. It definitely earns its 5-star reviews. The characters' interactions are on par. I'm not shocked to see there are there are no 1 or 2-star reviews here. Yeah, I am absolutely not surprised at that in any way, shape, or form because it's got all the things that you want. You've got character interaction. No one character is becoming like super overpowered and just like getting through all the things, including the main character. He's still suffering setbacks. He's still struggling to find the way forward, finding out who he is. Is he just someone who wants to work for money? Is there more to it? Does he still believe that, well, let's just say, does he still believe what he believes about the chosen and the gods? Is his view changing on that at all? Like, the character's growing up while becoming, stronger, obviously, while having all of these things that he's looking after, like the egg and the spell book. They doesn't want either of those fall into the wrong hands. And from what I've seen so far, I think book 4 is going to be just as good. Book 4, let's see, does it tell you on this one? Does it tell you on this one? Does it tell you on this one? No, it doesn't. But if you did read books 1 and 2, and you're keeping track, you probably know that the egg is going to be, let's just say it will be, the dragon will be out in book 4, obviously. And that whole thing I'm looking forward to. It's clear that they're not, writing as fast as humanly possible because the next book isn't going to be out until April of 2024. Gave themselves plenty of time to write it, rewrite it, edit it, all of that stuff. Not going to be out until 2024. Oh, yeah, and I guess, if you look at the, I'm not showing it, but if you were to look at the cover of book 4, you see the dragon already out and, like, draped across his shoulders, apparently, like a nice little, probably not going to be a pet, more of a companion. So, yeah, I would say the Hedge Wizard, with good old Wizard Hump here, is probably one of my current favorite fantasy series that are ongoing. A lot of them, unfortunately, suddenly were huge letdowns. This one has avoided that, which is absolutely fantastic. If it's done well for 3 books so far, it's probably going to be a solid series throughout. So if you haven't taken it up yet, I highly recommend you do. Yeah, this is probably an example of one of the finer stories in fantasy with lit RPG elements. Definitely S tier in that regard, without a doubt. So that is the end of my spoiler-free section. If you want to know a bit more spoilers about what's going on in book 3, this is your chance to nope out of here because we'll be going into spoilers right about now. So yeah, the party returns victorious to the city to realize that things are really, really going bad. The previous book, you had like tears in sort of like reality occurring. Now you got like a rise of warlocks trying to do what we don't know what as they go into the city. We quickly find out that the warlocks are up to no good. Let's see, did they do it that fast? I want to say right early on, you find out that they've killed a high priestess of light, I want to say, who essentially just, heals and is all around good. Not a good reason to kill them unless they're up to some seriously weird stuff. And that obviously angers everyone because, like, no one, you don't touch a high priestess of light, right? Not unless you're into some serious, serious dark. So they're all freaking out, trying to hunt them down. Everyone is rallying to figure out who these are, what we can do, how do we find them, because you can't hunt them down yet until you know how to track them. And that's the first step in the journey. Figure out how to track them. And avoiding the people who are now also coming in, because he learns there are people coming in accusing good old Wizard Hump here of killing his master. So weirdness going on there too. On top of that, they took one of those black rocks from the last book to other people in the city for further study. They were tracked and attacked by that group of warlocks because they want to get that back. Oops, they don't have it. So now that makes matters even worse because now apparently you've got like groups of warlocks willing to attack other people on the streets of the city. So nobody's happy. Tensions are going even higher. They just want to do anything they can to find them. So they're like going in and out of like everybody's home looking for illicit material, anything to tie them to warlock stuff. Throughout this, we're introduced to a little bit of a love interest because Hump meets up with another priestess who healed him back in the previous book, and they kind of got a thing. So while that's going on, they're trying to find them. But Hump's new master, well, not master, I wouldn't say master so much, just the current teacher, good old Vivi, is also being accused of bad things. So they have to deal with that, and by the time that's all solved, and they're finally getting closer to tracking these warlocks down, the people they're using to track them suddenly wind up getting killed. So now that expedition goes completely kaput, and they need to find another warlock in order to finish putting the trackers together to figure out where they are, which means that, you guessed it, Hump has to be like, this is a really bad time to tell you. I might technically just a sliver, I might also be considered by definition only to be a warlock, so I guess you can use me for it. And it's just like, obviously you don't want to do that, but you gotta find them because people are dying, so he's got to step up and do it. They've managed to find him. That's great. Unfortunately, it's too late. A lot of people have already died, and they find out those black rocks are growing trees of damnation that are spreading all over the city and killing a lot of people. Too little, too late. Like, that is essentially the book. Like, I'm not going to spoil the ending, but that is essentially the plot of this book, where like you have these constant problems that have to be addressed. You've got issues you have to struggle with. Like, I mean, everybody right now is like, kill all warlocks. I can venture forth and help them out because I am one, but they might kill me because of it. Like, that's tough decision to make. Like, there's no guarantee they're gonna be forgiving that or overlooking it, because right now they just want to kill them all. So yeah, it's a good read. It's got some twists in it. It's got some tough decisions that have to be made. One, the author's hands off, not forcing anything. The book is just sort of flowing kind of organically. Yeah, I like it. Completely recommend it. If you haven't read it yet, you probably should if you like fantasy. Simple as that. Anyways, I'm Dwyer. This has been The Hedge Wizard Book 3. Totally recommend. Hope you enjoyed if you wind up picking it up. As always, see you next time. Take care, everybody.